Hello, everyone. Awesome. We're going to get started in just a minute. Welcome to Fursuiting at Home. I hope you're all having a wonderful CozyCon Cretaceous. It's so cool that I can present my panel here at a con for tons of people joining in from all around the world. I'm a big proponent of accessibility, and I love supporting our community's online conventions whenever and wherever possible. Huge props to the CozyCon team for offering this opportunity. Hello, superhero. Hi, Nizer. Oh, thank you so much for the wonderful words of welcome. We will begin in just a moment. If you have any questions, you're welcome to ask as we go through the presentation, and in fact, I encourage you all to do so. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the panel where I'll go through and address all of your comments and inquiries. Please do engage with your fellow congoers and talk amongst yourselves in chat while the panel is going on. Hi, Furry Badass. Thank you so much. Unless my software breaks, a recording of this panel will be available on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Shetani, in the days following this broadcast. The spelling is up above my head on the top of your screen. So if you miss part of it, if you want to go back and take notes or pass it along to a friend who wasn't able to be here at CozyCon, you can rewatch at your leisure. That will also be captioned for accessibility. We have live automatic captions right here underneath me, but as you've already seen, those aren't perfect, so they'll be corrected for the YouTube version. Let's begin with a brief introduction. Hi, my name is Shetani, my pronouns are she, her, and my fursona is a king cheetah. I've been an active part of the furry community since 2012, though I had been following along for many years prior. I initially got my start in the cosplay community. In fact, my passion for cosplaying and costuming in general heavily influenced my decision to get a fursuit, as I knew it was something that I would have fun doing and be able to physically withstand from my background in cosplay. This year marks my official double digits of being a fursuiter. CozyCon is a multi-genre fandom convention. As you may have guessed from its title, I typically present this panel at furry-oriented cons, so you may notice some verbiage and terminology referring to the furry subculture during the presentation. However, the tips and advice can easily be applied to cosplaying, LARPing, IRL transformation, puppetry, VR performance, and other such pursuits. If you're not a furry or a fursuiter, you'll still learn quite a bit that you can apply to your own craft. Yes, accessibility is important. In this panel, I will discuss the role fursuiting plays in the furry scene, activities and ideas for at-home fursuiting, and socially connecting with the global furry community as a fursuiter, all from the comfort of your own home. Let's take a look at the situation at hand. The furry community is a vast and diverse space, and there are many different ways that we furries connect with the community as well as each other. Just like how you don't need to be a cosplayer to be part of any other fandom, owning a fursuit is not at all a requirement to take part in furry. However, there is a small yet vocal minority of us who enjoy fursuiting. For those who do choose to fursuit, it's a fun pastime and a creative way for us to express ourselves. We've invested a lot of time and effort into this. Either you paid someone a great deal to make a fursuit for you just to your specifications, or you yourself made it and put all that time, self-education, materials, and labor into creating what are essentially 3D works of art. Our fursonas are characters that are very near and dear to us. Fursuiting is our form of cosplay, but it's also something more. Cosplays tend to be of existing characters stemming from some sort of known pop culture franchise. Fans and people who are familiar with the source media all recognize these public characters. When furries fursuit, we're not just dressing up as a character from a video game or a movie that somebody else created. Personas mean different things to different furries, but in some way, each is a unique representation of its creator. We've made these characters ourselves and grown very attached to them, and having the opportunity to embody them in the flesh is personally significant. Fursuiting is a step beyond performance. In the furry subculture, it's a social activity. Some rely on fursuits as an aid for socializing, networking, and having fun. Many furries have some sort of social anxiety, and no matter which side of the costume you're on, fursuiting helps break the ice and embolden folks to be more confident, able to speak to people they wouldn't normally have the courage to talk to, try new things, and go to places they never would have gone before. I'm sure all you cosplayers can relate to this too. Naturally, conventions and meetups are where the bulk of said social gatherings take place. Though there is a big push within furry to return to physical events, the pandemic is still ongoing. Conventions and events, even those that enforce vaccination and masking in their rules, frequently become hotbeds of illness despite everyone's best intentions. This puts folks in a position where they don't feel safe going to cons, furmates, or other group gatherings, with or without their fursuit. And it's important to recognize that a huge portion of our community point blank can't attend physical conventions. The reasons are numerous: financial cost, travel, lack of accessibility, physical limitations, getting time off of work or school, family obligations, and many other factors. Some furries just don't like conventions. And lest we forget, many people live in an area where there simply aren't any furry events happening. They couldn't attend one even if they wanted to. In addition, for those who utilize fursuiting as a social tool, that's really hard to do if you don't have friends in your area who are furries, or if you don't have local friends you can actually visit or go to events with on a regular basis. This raises the question, what do I do with my fursuit when I can't go to events or out with my friends? I know I've been talking about conventions quite a bit. From the outside looking in, it often seems like that's the only place you ever see fursuiters. This has a lot to do with the public optics of furry conventions and the furry subculture as a whole. It's so important to keep in mind that you do not need to go to conventions to be a furry. Hear this, read it, internalize it. Cons make up one small part of the vast, multifaceted furry subculture. There are so many ways to express your furriness without going to cons and fur meets. That includes wearing fursuits. I love attending cons, and before 2020, I had the privilege to be able to go to them every year. However, I don't attend nearly as many cons as some of the more prolific fursuiters and fandom personalities that you may see online. For this reason, I've gotten pretty good at thinking of fun ways to utilize my fursuit without having to rely on an external event. In the years since, I've connected with my peers who also fursuit at home and put together this little presentation to share a bit of what we've learned and experienced. So without further ado, let's get into it. So, one of the most accessible things you can do with your fursuit at home is taking pictures. Now, a lot of people hear the term photography and think you need expensive cameras and lenses and lighting setups in the whole 9 yards. While having dedicated photography equipment would be, of course, helpful, for a hobbyist or someone just looking to have some fun, it's by no means required. There are many more qualified folks out there who give panels at cons about photography using actual camera equipment. So for that, I'll point you in their direction. I'll be discussing entry-level tips for casual photo taking. These days, almost everyone has a smartphone right there in their pocket, and the standard phone can do a lot more than folks give it credit for. This is definitely serviceable for taking fursuit photos. Now, every fursuit is built differently and has a different set of limitations. Some things are more difficult to do in fursuit if you don't have a handler, which is a second person not in fursuit to help you out. Depending on your situation, whether you live alone or perhaps your household members are not willing to help you out with your fursuiting, you may have to manage by yourself. Worry not. There are tons of tools to assist you with doing smartphone photo shoots entirely on your own. The number one tool, which for me is a lifesaver, is voice activation. If you go into the settings on your phone's camera, there will likely be a toggle for this. You can say a command word like smile or cheese, and the phone will take a picture. This may be activated in the digital assistant feature of your phone if you use that. Voice control is super helpful for hands-free photography. If your fursuit has big unwieldy paws, hooves, mitts, whatever you have, that are hard to get on and off quickly, or if you have attached arm sleeves and you can't remove your paw without starting to disrobe, you'll find this extremely helpful. You can even use it to record video, not just pictures, though we'll get to that later. For getting a full body shot or something staged, like a wider shot in front of a backdrop, you're going to want to place your camera on something instead of holding it. I recommend investing in a tripod for this. Again, doesn't have to be anything expensive or professional if that's not financially accessible for you. You can do a lot with just those little phone tripods with the bendy legs. Selfie sticks were super popular a couple years back, so you probably have one just lying around the house collecting dust. As you can see, Erlides here has a selfie stick that he is putting to good use. And of course, timers. You can set up the timer on your phone's camera or use an external one, such as handheld remotes that pair to your phone using Bluetooth. If you have a smaller hand paw on your fursuit with more dexterity, you can use one of these pretty easily. Or you can even hide it inside your paw so the remote isn't visible in the shot. And if all else fails, you can always go for the hand behind the back pose. If you really want to make your pictures pop, a little editing goes a long way. Perhaps your camera's not the best, or your picture came out a little blurry. Some very basic editing can help clear that up. You especially see this when taking pictures with the front-facing camera on your phone, as that's usually of a lower megapixel quality, and the photos you take may be a little more grainy or less clear. Many phones allow you to edit your photos right from the camera app, and various social media apps have filters and tools you can use. Even Telegram, which you probably use if you're a furry, has honestly great photo controls. Lets you adjust the saturation, the gamma, contrast of pictures that you're sending to make your shots look super snazzy. So on the left here, we have a photo that for all intents and purposes looks like a failure. The fursuiter is in shadow, the colors look washed out, and of course, part of the camera person's thumb got in the shot, and those pesky fingers. However, it's not a lost cause. Just a few touch-ups are all that's needed to get this picture going from trash to something worth showing off. Again, though you can totally go out and buy lots of fun new equipment, we're focusing on fursuiting at home with what you already have. If you don't have a tripod for your camera, you can just stack up some books or boxes and lean your phone on that. No need to buy a ring light professional setup when a well-angled desk lamp will do the trick. You can play around with a lot of lighting and features depending on what you have at home. Most of us don't live in a mansion or have a whole photo studio full of props and backdrops at our disposal. That's okay, this is all just for fun. Try rearranging your furniture, use different camera orientations, and basically see what you can do with what's available to you. There are many online tutorials and life hack style videos that show you how to do cool and creative photo tricks with what you already have in your house. A single green bedsheet and a little bit of computer magic can transport you to as many wild and crazy places as you can imagine. Social media apps like TikTok are even advancing to the point where you don't need a green screen to replace your background. I'm pretty sure almost every common app that folks use for sharing pictures and videos has like background removal technology these days. It's quite interesting. So how about some ideas for all these photos and videos you'll be taking, right? Let's start off with something nice and easy. You've got hobbies other than fursuiting, right? I should very well hope so. Go ahead and show them off to the world. If your fursona, like mine, is basically yourself, you can set up scenes that show what you like to do. Or if your fursuit's more of a separate character, you can think of activities that fit with their personality or the world that they live in. For example, here we have Wad, who is a fursuit maker, making fursuits while in fursuit. And Bavels the bunny is out doing some gardening on a lovely sunny day. Perhaps he's planting some carrots. Cosplaying is very popular and a personal favorite of mine. After all, fursuiting is just another form of cosplay. If you made it to the cosplay and fursuit meetup earlier today at CozyCon, I talked about this a little bit. But to just go over it briefly, combining costumes with your fursuit to help blur the lines and bridge the gap in people's minds. So here's a photo from the shoot I did as Diva from Overwatch. As you can see, I have a bunch of video game cases, some Mountain Dew and Doritos, simple you have lying around the house. Help flesh out your scene a little bit more. Make it look more like a studio shot instead of you just sitting on your couch taking a picture. And of course, here we have Fangorn, who is dressed as a Jedi Knight from Star Wars, complete with a working lightsaber and some space-related paraphernalia. Beautiful shot. Bedroom posing is a tried and true fandom favorite. Also a valid option for the itty-bitty living space folks. If you live in a dorm or an apartment or shared housing, I'm fairly certain you at least have a bed to call your own. Things like coordinating bed sheets or stuffed animals that match your fursona's species can bring a little more character to your photos. And whether you choose to go for sleepy, cute, or even a little spicy, there's a whole gamut of moods you can convey with these type of pictures. Working from home is another great option, whether you actually do work from home or you can just set up a little set in your living space and make it look like that anyway. It may sound silly to lay it out like this, but folks really do often forget that you can just make things up for fun. Staging photos is totally an acceptable and viable option for any scenarios that your imagination can conjure. Playing with pets is a great one. Here we have Edward getting in some valuable pooch time, and Blue with his own beloved dog, whose appearance actually inspired the look of his own fursuit. The juxtaposition of real and costume animal gets so many reactions from folks online. Whatever species they may be, if you share your home with pets, they can often make really fun and unique co-stars for your fursuit photo shoots. Keep in mind, though, that animals can often react unpredictably to people in costume, so if you've never tried this before, take time to ensure that your pet is accustomed to your fursuit and interacting with you while you're wearing it. You do not want a traumatized or injured pet or a damaged fursuit. Cooking is another fun photo shoot idea that ties into the hobbies I mentioned earlier. I'm doing a staged photo here, but there are some fursuiters who can and do actually make food in fursuit. Buttercup is an absolutely darling spaniel who runs a YouTube channel called Bake Me Up Buttercup, where she bakes lots of yummy treats in fursuit and shares the recipes with her viewers. Fursuit pictures don't always need to be elaborate fantasy scenarios. You can just show people scenes from everyday life. This is something that doesn't require a lot of outside effort or preparation, which makes it quite accessible to every fursuiter at home. So here's Captain Julius, who is a cuttlefish, sitting down to have a picnic and eating some sushi, which is an absolutely hilarious and creative idea that plays off the species of his fursona. Meanwhile, Ashram is doing some laundry, and what makes it even more unusual is that he is hanging up yet another fursuit. Again, there's so much potential for creativity here, and just the fact that a big animal person is doing it can make even the most mundane task memorable and engaging for your audience. And finally, let us not forget to give a moment to the tried and true selfie. No frills, no bells or whistles, just take a nice photo of yourself. Portraits like these are great for showing off different facial expressions or moods of your fursuit, as well as a really nice outfit or accessories for us partial fursuiters. You can utilize what you have in your environment for these. Instead of taking a picture in front of a blank wall, use a poster or a cool art piece, set that up behind you, get rid of the negative space, and make a nice, more interesting shot. It is possible, if you want, to extend your fursuiting slightly beyond the confines of your home to public spaces. Public fursuiting is its own highly engaging and detailed topic, which I won't be delving very far into during this 1-hour panel. Again, I point you in the direction of recorded panels on YouTube to find other fursuiters speaking on that specific subject. Highly experienced and talented folks more knowledgeable than I about this particular aspect of fursuiting. Many suitors have reservations about fursuiting in public when not at a convention or other socially accepted setting. So this may be your chance to try some new things. Please note that if you do go outside for fursuiting and you wish to be safer and protect yourself and others from getting sick, wearing a protective face mask under your fursuit is a great first line of defense. Despite what some may think, the suit head itself is not a substitute for a mask. Fursuit heads are built to have the best possible ventilation and airflow, which is the exact opposite of what a medical mask is designed to do. A fursuit head doesn't filter anything and will not prevent the spread of viral particles. The great folks at COVID Safe Furs have some fantastic resources for you to check out. They've really done their research into easy and helpful ways that fursuiters can reduce the risk of getting sick, like masks that work best under fursuit heads, how to keep your risk low at cons and room parties, and cutting-edge future tools. We're all in this together, so let's keep looking out for each other. In addition to taking pictures, you can also make videos in your fursuit. A lot of the techniques and suggestions that I mentioned for photography can be applied to videography too. Again, much can be done with your own phone without the need for a designated video camera. I mentioned voice activation earlier, which can be used not only to take pictures, but also start recording for a video completely hands-free. All the tips about tripods and using tools to stabilize your camera for photography certainly go hand in hand for video recording. Take care, P-Head. The panel is being recorded, so if you missed the last half of it, that will be available on my YouTube channel afterwards, and you can watch the bits that you missed. Editing your videos in post, you do not need paid or professional level software to do this. Videos can be edited with many social media apps if you're recording a video to post online. Your phone itself will have a video editor that supports basic editing functions like cropping the screen, changing the lighting, cutting down the length, and things like that. Maybe you need a bit out of the beginning or the end where you took your fursuit paw off to stop the recording. You can do that right in the app itself. I'm going to reach through cyberspace and guess that whatever device you're using to watch this panel right now very likely has a camera built in. Boom, you're halfway there already. If you don't have a built-in webcam or the built-in one is kind of crappy, buying one of your own online is an option. This video is actually being recorded on a webcam. As you can see, the image quality is pretty darn good, and it was not very expensive at all. Free software can enable you to use your own phone as a webcam. This is good to keep in mind if you want to do group chats or live streaming in your fursuit, which I will talk more about later. And of course, if you don't want to live stream or record on your device itself, you can film on your phone and then plug that into your computer to transfer the files over for later editing. I know, it's great. If your videos involve talking, you'll probably want to use an external microphone to record sound. Fursuit heads are big and bulky and cover up your mouth, so they often muffle the voice and can make it hard for your audience to understand you. Fursuiters online use a variety of small, wireless or wired mics that can be placed inside of the fursuit head while they're talking. Or, like I'm doing in this picture, you can get an external mic within your price range and have that on a stand fairly close to your face to record audio while you're in fursuit. Though, as you can see right now, I'm simply using the microphone on my gaming headset, so you have a lot of options. There are free programs such as Audacity you can use to adjust your audio, clear up background noise, and just sort of touch that up a bit. Get rid of any sort of interference that may occur due to your fursuit head. Another choice, depending on what kind of video you're doing, is to record the audio separately, either beforehand or in post, and edit that into the video itself. If you're making a how-to video or something with a narration or a voiceover, this will likely fit that well. Yes, P-head, they are my real eyes and my real hair in the fursuit, and the glasses are real. I need them to see. They're my vision aids. So remember, we're talking introductory stuff here. Your videos don't need to look or sound professional unless you're a pro streamer or you have a Patreon where people are literally paying you to make fursuit content. We're just talking about stuff to have fun and keep active in your fursuit from home. So you do not need to focus on being the best of the best. The most important part is that you are having fun. So, very briefly, what are some ideas for fursuit videos you can make? Short videos are very accessible and easy for folks to get right into. Skits are great. Imagination is wonderfully combined with fursuiting. If you have an idea for a cute little skit, those are awesome. Maybe your fursuit character is having a bad day. What went wrong? How do they deal with it? Maybe they are trying something new. Does it go well? Does it go poorly? What kind of surprise situations do they encounter? Fun stuff like that. Memes are obviously super popular and super easy to make videos about while in fursuit. Every day there's some new meme going around online, so if you're looking for quick and fun things to do in your fursuit and keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in the furry community, this is the way to go. Dance videos. Fursuit dancing is a big subculture in its own right within our furry community. I myself choose not to dance in fursuit. The public does not need to be subjected to that, let me tell you. And I have the utmost respect and admiration for those of us who have the talent and skill to dance in fursuit, and they want to express themselves to the world in that way. You can even do updates in your fursuit, talking about what's going on with your life, current events, anything new or exciting that's going on. Where to post these videos depends on where you're most active and what you want to do with them. There are tons of places where you can share your fursuit pictures and videos and connect with other furries. We're kind of all over the internet these days. So no matter where you look, you're going to find a furry community there. If you have more to say or do that can be crammed into just a few seconds, or if you want your videos to stick around for a little longer than ad-based social media usually offers, longer format videos expand your content creation possibilities. For instance, I run a YouTube channel where I do a series called Cheetah Chat with Shetani. I talk about different topics of interest pertaining to the furry community that I don't see other people talking about too much. You can check that out if you would like. Discussion videos and talking head style videos are popular. Almost everyone has knowledge or information that they'd like to share. How-tos are another thing you can do. I mentioned Buttercup earlier, who runs a baking and recipe series in Fursuit. If you have any talents or hobbies, like playing a musical instrument, for instance, doing any sort of crafting skills, building skills, you can do that in your fursuit to be more engaging and show others how to do it too. Reaction videos are a thing, doing vlogs, of course, though your videos don't even need to be in these formats. You can do short films in your fursuit. Perhaps your character is one that you've established a world and a universe for, or maybe there's a story that you want to tell, and you choose to do that through combining the medium of video with fursuiting. There are online furry film festivals that you can submit your films to, get them in front of a wider audience, and have the chance to win prizes and accolades for your work. Platforms for doing this include YouTube, one of the biggest and most well-known online video sites, I probably don't need to go too much into detail about these, but of course there are other options such as Twitch, Picardo, Discord, depending on whether you're streaming or just posting longer videos online. You can do your own research and find out which option works best for you and your preferences. It's also a good idea to have more than one place you're sharing your fursuit activities these days because, as we know, social media is very fickle, so it's a good idea to not keep all of your eggs in one basket. Piggybacking off of that, streaming is another great thing that you can do in Fursuit, and you don't even need to leave your house to do it. As you can see right now, I'm doing a stream during a convention. How cool is that? There's a lot that you can do in Fursuit with this topic, really. Gaming is probably one of the most common streaming activities. Folks love to stream themselves playing all kinds of games, be those video games, card games, tabletop games. It's a great way to make new friends, and money has even been raised for charities and good causes through donation streams hosted by furries in our community. I'm sure you all have been enjoying just a slice of the furry streaming community through the programming this weekend at CozyCon. Art can also be streamed online. We furries love to commission art of our characters as well as watch the artists at work bringing masterpieces to life. A couple good friends of mine stream art while in Fursuit, and being in Fursuit while you make art can drive a lot of viewers to your stream. Interviews and podcasts are on the up and up these days. These are quite easy to set up remotely. I've seen a lot of furries and fursuiters interviewing each other for podcasts and web series. Taken part in a few myself. And many of the platforms I mentioned earlier support live streaming in some capacity. There was a great panel yesterday at CozyCon about how to get started live streaming. If you were able to catch it, fantastic. Otherwise, keep an eye out for the recording later. And I'm sure you can reach out to the panel host here in the CozyCon Discord if you had any questions about that. If you filmed a longer format or short format video like the kinds I mentioned previously, you can snip short little clips out of those and make them into GIFs for easy sharing online. Here are some examples of things you can do. Aries is playing and cuddling with their pet kitty cat, while Mark is giving us a very cute fuzzy lion wave. If you use social media, Telegram, Discord, you'll know how popular GIFs are for use as reaction images. And instead of searching through for the perfect one to capture the mood you're feeling, make your own using your fursuit. No need to pay somebody $1 billion to make you a custom animated Telegram sticker. People react really well to these, and it's something more novel than just sending an emoji or a generic sticker of someone else's character. Solo projects are all well and good, but what if you're looking for something more interactive? Public video projects are so much fun to participate in Fursuit as well as host. If you're unfamiliar with the concept, in short, it's a creative project where many people come together to bring an idea to life. Someone with a concept for a video they'd like to make, they ask their friends or put out a call on social media for like-minded individuals willing to participate. Everybody gets their part or instructions on what they need to do, film it, and the host puts all the submissions together into one collaborative project. Usually you'll see this taking the form of a music video, as the concept lends itself well to the format, but there are unlimited things you can do. If you're a fursuiter looking for such videos to participate in, keep an eye out for submission calls on social media sites, Telegram chats, Discord servers, popular places for furries. If you can't find any to participate in, and you have an idea that you don't see people doing and you want to bring life, you yourself can host your own. All you need to do is just get people to spread the word about your project, and I guarantee you other fursuiters will come and want to contribute. Thank you very much, Nazer. I appreciate that. So let's take a look at some examples of public fursuiter video projects. Quarantine is an example of one where a musician, Ringer, composed a song And for the visual, took a bunch of clips of fursuiters who they asked to do certain activities that fit with it and put it all together to fit the theme of the song. Boom, you got yourself a music video. How awesome is that? And if you'd like to check out the video yourself, there is a link to Ringer's YouTube page on screen. Rascal did a really cool series showcasing different fursuiters from around the world. This was a monumental undertaking that spanned something like 20 weeks and 2 separate volumes. The videos were hosted on TikTok, but you did not need to have a TikTok account to participate. So many countries and continents were represented when the video project was done. It's an amazing showcase of all the diversity we have in the furry community, and this is a prime idea of the type of fursuiting you can do and support without having to go out and travel, while connecting with other furries and fursuiters from all around the globe. Rascal is a prolific public video project host. They do things like all the time, various times of year for various holidays. So if you feel like you want to start getting involved with group video projects, definitely follow them on social media. There will be lots of opportunities for you to join in and have fun. So how about something a little more technically advanced? A great example is Infernity, the Taiwanese furry convention, and their chain reaction video. For this, they asked participants to take a card, hold it up to the camera, not in it, and then remove the card to show themselves in their fursuit. The person would then pass it off screen to the next person. All the videos were synced up. These type of transition videos or videos with a common visual linking all the pieces are very popular. Like I said, this is kind of like advanced mode for group video projects. It's more complicated in that you are involving props, and the creator has to coordinate the direction in which each person in the lineup passes their card so that everything flowed together smoothly. And in the end, the final project was really something very impressive. Group video calls are a great way to socially engage. There's no reason to not do this in Fursuit if you have other fursuiters or people that you're comfortable fursuiting with on camera. There are many different platforms you can use if you want to start hosting group video chats on your own. This is typically where I share Fursuit video call groups that you, the viewer, can join. Unfortunately, my previous go-tos have been suffering a dearth of activity lately. If you know of any active online Fursuit groups, by all means, please get in contact with me after this panel, and I will add them to the presentation. Let's not forget about online conventions. As you can see, I'm at an online convention right now. I'm wearing a fursuit, and I'm having a great time. Many other virtual furry cons are hosted in a live format with events you can participate in using your webcam. Here we have a picture of the Fursuit and Cosplay meet and greet that happened like 4 hours ago, just right here at CozyCon. Dance competitions too. There's a screenshot from the Anthrocon online dance competition. These typically are in the format of pre-recorded submissions that are judged live on stream. Though some VR chat cons have done actual live dance competitions with the help of body tracking technology. That is not exactly fursuit related though, so we're going to leave that for another time. Costume contests are also a thing. Here we see Temperance doing a cosplay of a Khajiit from Elder Scrolls. And no, that's not a game render. That is an honest-to-goodness fursuit. And they entered into the Cosplay Central costume competition. Many games, shows, and other media franchises have anthropomorphic animal characters or races. Depending on the species or the look of your fursuit, you can use accessories or outfits to adapt your fursona into a cosplay character. As seen in this example, a lot of naturally colored felines can do double duty as a Khajiit. I have so many friends who dress up their fursuits as characters from Beastars or Zootopia. Many franchises feature werewolves, dragons, fantasy species that are common in the furry community with fursuits. The sky really is the limit. If you need some inspiration as a fursuiter, all you need to really do is hang around some non-furries at an event and see what you get misidentified as the most. Yes, don't forget to look for comic conventions, anime conventions, the fandom, nerd events that may be hosting online versions. CozyCon is an example of a multi-fandom online convention. There are tons of others, with new ones cropping up every single day. So many opportunities for you to wear your fursuit. So, you recorded a whole bunch of stuff in your fursuit. Where do you share it? Why, where the furries are, of course. And in this day and age, that means practically anywhere. There are a ton of places where you can find the furry community, with even more every day. In addition to social media platforms, Telegram and Discord specifically have tools you can use to search for furry groups. The Furlist Telegram bot lists hundreds of furry groups and breaks them down by niche interest. So if you're looking for a group about, say, furry YouTubers, or if you are a dragon and you want to find other dragon furries, or even like furry car enthusiasts, whatever you can think about, do yourself a little keyword search. So it can be hard to motivate yourself to keep fursuiting when you see other people going to cons and having fun at events that you can't or choose not to take part in. We do as much as we can, but it can be mentally taxing to go through the effort of suiting up just to do a couple little fun things for social media. Try to motivate yourself to stay active by sticking to a schedule. You can set personal goals, such as posting every Friday or posting at least once a month. You don't have to be too ambitious, nor should you hold yourself up to other online posters as a rubric. Do what you are capable of while ensuring it's still fun for yourself. There are hashtag trends that you can follow on social media. A very popular one is Fursuit Friday, where people post pictures of their fursuits on a weekly basis. This will also be where other people are looking for fursuits, and here's a great opportunity for you to socially connect with other fursuiters in the community. Go ahead and capitalize on that. Use it as an excuse to make yourself get into fursuit if that helps. You can say like, oh, Friday's coming up. I promised myself I'd have a new picture to post. So that motivates you to get into fursuit and make that picture. Don't forget, this is about being social. So in addition to shooting your own fursuit out there into the ether, interact with other fursuiters too. If a suitor you follow online posts a picture of them gaming, for instance, snap one of yourself in suit with your own controller and gaming headset on and comment like, let's party up, or take a picture of yourself in suit with a big armful of junk food like, sounds fun, I'll bring the snacks. Start up a nice back and forth, build rapport, and that's how you form friendships and get connected with others in the fursuiting community without even meeting face to face. You can look for virtual groups that meet on a regular basis. I mentioned that earlier. Remember that if you see a niche that needs filling, you can totally step up. Can't find a fursuit group? Why not start your own? But it's important to know your own limits and only do what you feel comfortable with. Fursuiting is meant to be a hobby that relieves stress. So if you're not feeling it one day, it's okay to skip a day of a regular chat group or something. Take care of yourself first and foremost. If you're not in the right mindset to fursuit and it starts feeling more like a chore than a fun hobby, that's when you know that you need to dial it back, recollect yourself, and regain the right mindset before you go out and start suiting again. So, why even bother fursuiting when you're not attending in-person events? There are a ton of great reasons. First of all, maintenance of your fursuit. When you're putting the costume on and wearing it, you're going to have to maintain it afterwards. Fursuits can't be kept in a box or on a hanger for very long. They do need regular upkeep. When there is a long span of time between conventions and events, we sometimes don't do that as much as we should. By going through the motions of fursuiting regularly, you'll become aware of any rips or popped seams that need to be repaired. You'll have to brush out any knots from the fur, clean it, and disinfect it as you normally do to keep it in peak condition for when you do wish to go out with it. Suiting keeps you and your character in the public eye. If you're not posting online, folks are going to start wondering what happened to you. Fursuit pictures and regular updates let people know that you are doing all right and keep them in the loop. There are many who make a primary or secondary income from the furry community through art commissions, merchandise sales, and things of that nature. If you have a fursuit, that could often serve as a mascot for your at-home business. Personally, I love seeing, for example, merchandise sellers who come out with a new t-shirt or apparel drop and they're using their fursuit to model it. I think that's like the coolest thing. When we can't go out to spend time with friends and family, furry or otherwise, it takes a toll on the psyche. Human beings need social interaction, and for many, it's hard to reach out to friends when you can feel your social skills backsliding. Fursuiting can be an avenue for that socialization. Even though we may not be able to do so in person, we can still communicate with each other online and fulfill that online social interaction need. And finally, just wearing your fursuit makes you happy. The vast majority of furries don't fursuit at all. If you have a fursuit, that means you chose this path for a reason. Fursuiting is something that you enjoy. It's going to make you feel better, improve your mood, and promote positivity. Remember that the most important person for you to be suiting for is yourself. So at this point, I will be opening up the floor to questions from you, the lovely audience. I will go back through the chat and see what folks have already asked, though if you have any questions or if you would like me to expand upon a point previously discussed, go right ahead and type that into the chat right now, and I will do my level best to answer. I will be checking the Twitch chat. I believe there is also a Discord events channel, so I will be poking my muzzle in there as well just to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Please also be gracious and allow the stream delay, so I may not be answering right away. A couple of comments that I have already addressed during the panel. Yep, nowadays you can find decent selfie sticks and tripods at dollar stores. It has gotten to that point. So there's a lot of technology. If you're in the United States, I'm not sure if they have this in other countries, but there is an interesting store called Five Below, which is kind of a slightly more advanced dollar store. And I've seen like the in fursuit head microphones sold there. I've seen a lot of like ring lights and other implements that can be used for fursuit photography or streaming. So it's rather financially accessible to folks these days. Oh, so we have a comment here that Nyat, original composer, wrote a song for a Go project featuring Japanese fursuiters. That's very interesting. I would love to see that. I think I know the group talking about. I've seen a ton of videos from them. They really go all out in coordinating the dance moves, and the production value on those are phenomenal. That's something you don't really see too much these days. Back in 2012, when I first became involved with the furry community, you saw a lot of fursuit music videos where people would actually like choreograph dances and have everybody like learn the dance ahead of time, and then they'd get together at cons and do the dance. I've been in one video like that. I recorded for 3 of them, but 2 of them never got made, unfortunately. It's really fun. I wonder why we don't really do that all that much these days. Current climate for in-person fursuit video collaboration is very sort of like off the cuff. We see it entering a new era with like TikTok and the short form video content. There are like trends and such that folks follow, but nothing really so bombastic as used to be done. Nazer asks, do you have any recommendations for those who will have to save up to afford a suit? Well, you've already sort of hit the nail on the head. Some people often wonder about, there are the memes about these suspiciously wealthy furries. I'm like, how can furries afford all these expensive costumes? We save up for them. Just like people save up for things that they want. The difference is the item that we're choosing to spend our money on is something different than what the standard person would choose to. Like, you know, someone might save up for all expense paid vacation to take their family to Disney World for a weekend. Or someone might save up to buy a new gaming console or gaming PC because that's what they're interested in. If you're interested in fursuiting, you'll save up to buy a fursuit. It's the same concept. As for tips on how to do that, well, I don't really have any specific ideas. Um, just keeping in mind that it may take a while. The basics, such as taking a small amount from your paycheck and just putting that aside, not touching it, eventually it will accrue. If folks have a specific fursuit maker in mind, that's fantastic. Otherwise, if you don't really have a preference or have, for example, accessibility concerns that would require you to get a fursuit with certain features or from a specific maker, as I have, you can find a lot of newer fursuit makers who don't really charge as much for their work these days. So, like, just because you see somebody spend, for example, $1,000 on a fursuit, it's kind of like cars. You can search for something that fits within your own budget. There are online tools. There's a website called Get Fursuit. That's GETFURSU.IT that lists fursuit makers from all around the world. You can sort that by category based on your desired style, your budget, what country you're in, etc. And it's a pretty neat database to find a fursuit maker that jives with your interests. We have a question from the Discord. What's the best protective mask to wear under a fairly well-fitted fursuit head? The ones that stick out of my face don't work, and ear loop ones don't fit me, sadly. Without knowing the details of your particular fursuit head, and of course keeping in mind that this is going to be different for everybody, I have a fantastic suit head that works really well with your typical KN95. I use that when I go out to events or conventions in my fursuit. I use mask tape to create a seal around the edges of the mask, and I put that on first. Fursuit head goes over that, of course, and it stays all day through sweating and activity, up to 90-degree temperatures, marching in pride parades. It sticks. It stays, and that creates a great seal. So I am the type of person who, with my 10 years of fursuiting experience, I don't really need to drink water while I'm in fursuit. I sort of understand that when I'm getting into suit, I'm locked in for the next couple hours. If you need to have a drink, you can install sip valves, which will allow you to put a straw in there and hydrate while you're in suit if taking off the head or taking off the mask isn't an option for you. But cycling back to your question about the best protective mask, that will depend on your own specific needs. I recommend reaching out to the COVID Safe Furs group because that's a large, cohesive group of people who all have their own experiences. So they might be able to talk to you more about your particular needs, like You say that ear loop ones don't fit you. That's the type of mask that I use. So maybe try reaching out to them. They have some great resources about mask fitting under fursuits. They also do panels at conventions for fit tests and things like that. Yes, boy cub, very important, or you make one. All fursuits are made by an individual person, whether that is somebody else that you're paying money to or you. You can make your own fursuit, and that's a great way to keep monetary costs low. Of course, you do have an alternate cost in your labor and your time, but that works for many people, and they find it more accessible. Mitch asks, oh yes, good point, Wildcard9. Keep an eye on the dealer's den for inexpensive fursuit pieces. The dealer's den in this case referring to an online furry auction website. It's kind of like eBay, but for furry stuff. And you can find a lot of pre-owned, loved fursuits on there. Some makers also sell their artist-designed suits there. Mitch asks, if your fursuit head has long strands of hair, what's the best way to take care of it? I can't answer that question because my fursuit head does not have hair. This is my actual hair being utilized as part of the suit, as well as my own eyes. So I would say if your suit has long strands of hair, the best way to take care of it would be to ask your maker what they recommend. Each fursuit is going to be different. We've got a handful of minutes left. Can probably take one or two more questions if folks have any that they would like to sneak right in there. Yeah, heard it's a huge pain to maintain wig hair on fursuits. That's part of the reason why I chose to get the style of fursuit that I did. As I mentioned, I used to be a cosplayer, and dealing with long wigs, especially with long hair, is not very fun. I also found it completely unnecessary and redundant because my fursona is based on me, so she has the same hair and eyes that I do. So it would be completely nonsensical to take my actual hair, shove it up under a fursuit head, and then put a wig on top that looks exactly like my real hair. So I did my research and found a fursuit maker who is able to incorporate hair and eyes into the fursuit. As mentioned, I became involved in the furry community back in 2012. So there were only a handful of people making fursuits back then, and of those, I only found one maker who could do what I needed, which was Magpie Bones. These days, there are a ton of fursuit makers who do use your own eyes and use your own hair options, so folks have just so many choices. It's great. I love how expansive the furry community has become, and fursuit makers are innovating and creating new fursuit technology every day, learning how to adapt their craft to accommodate folks with different needs, with different disabilities, just making suits just like hyper realistic or super cute to match like a particular art style. They look like a walking cartoon. It's so cool to see what we can do these days. All right, so we are reaching the end of my time. I see a couple more questions there. Feel free to message me on Discord. I am in the CozyCon Discord if you'd like me to answer those. But I will thank you so much for attending my panel. I hope you learned a little something new today. If you would like to follow me online, my Fediverse handle is meow.social @Shetani. I'm on Instagram at @ShetaniCheetah, and my YouTube channel is youtube.com/Shetani. My homepage has links to these as well as all my other active social platforms. If you have any questions, comments, or feedback on the information I presented here today, please don't hesitate to contact me and let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the panel I put on today and would like to show your appreciation, I have a Ko-fi page set up at ko-fi.com/Shetani for donations, and you can spot me a cup of tea or two. As mentioned, I plan to have a captioned recording of this panel on YouTube in the coming days, so you can rewatch it at your leisure, share it with friends who may not have been able to catch the live broadcast here at the convention. Thank you again so much for watching. I've had a great time here today. Have fun, stay safe, and keep on suiting. Enjoy the rest of your CozyCon Cretaceous.